and welcome all of you. So I see a good crowd who are keen to pursue one of the greatest qualifications in project management, CAPM and PMP. So let me quickly start with a let me know, Ajit, whether you can hear the sound of this video. I would like to quickly start with a video. Let me know whether you can hear the sound for the moment. You can't, Ajit, is it?
No, still cannot.
Can you all hear?
No, Shanaka. No, not.
Sorry about it. I'll try one more time, otherwise we can skip this.
As a half billion people watched,
You can hear, right?
Can hear. Yeah, can hear.
Okay, I'll start. So let me start with a quick video to take you through very quickly on some of the greatest projects the mankind has undertaken to give you a start and to motivate you what kind of projects PMI is so keen to look at.
as a half billion people watched, a 363-foot rocket propelled 3 astronauts into space and into history.
In 1969, the first message was sent between a network of geographically separated computers.
It took a team of 50,000 less than 16 months to construct the first 747.
2 new cities were established to be the home of Walt Disney World.
Kicking Horse Pass between Alberta and British Columbia.
It took 20 years to construct the world's longest national highway connecting Canada's 10 provinces.
The design and construction of the Sydney Opera House's shell structure took 8 years to complete.
Following the spike in oil prices, the TGV project turned to electricity as its power source of choice.
The prototype for the first portable mobile phone was more than a foot long and could handle 1 hour of talk time.
An underwater rail tunnel spanning more than 50 kilometers made travel between 2 countries faster and easier.
The Mars Pathfinder project proved a simple system could be used to send scientific instruments to another planet.
Amidst growing environmental concerns, Toyota launched the first alternative fuel vehicle since the 1924 Stanley steamer.
A natural gas plant that can power a city of 6 million finished 4 months early and $200 million under budget.
Architects and engineers had to vary the shape of the Burj Dubai to minimize the impact of wind gusts.
And we are calling it iPhone.
Only 30 senior people on the iPhone project team were allowed to actually see the phone before it was announced.
Expansion of the Panama Canal is underway to double its capacity and create a new lane of traffic.
Located 30 kilometers off the coast of Denmark, Horns Rev 2 cost nearly $1 billion and will supply enough electricity for 200,000 households.
So that's a quick briefing, team, on some of the greatest projects the mankind has ever executed. Some of the significant projects, you can see Apollo, where we went to the moon, was one of the greatest projects that we have ever executed in the past, starting from 1970s. And also you saw, just a minute, you saw some of the projects such as TGV in that example is the fastest train on earth up to recent years, where British and French built. It was another project you were talking about in the video. We were talking about 747 in 1970. Boeing built the world's largest passenger plane, still active in most of the airlines. 747 became the largest passenger plane in 1970. Not anymore, but 1970, yes, it was the largest passenger airline. We saw how we built the mobile phone in 1983. Motorola, together with Israelis, we built the first mobile phone, which was one of the greatest projects, which transformed all of us. Today something that we cannot live without. But that project was executed in 1983. If you look at the video. Sorry. I hope you can hear me, Ajit.
Yeah, can hear Shanaka.
All right, thanks. We saw how iPhone took the market in 1997, where Apple never had a phone, and how Apple became number one. It was a project inside Apple to manufacture one of the most innovative phones in 1997, actually, where Apple took the entire market, became number one in most of the countries, and today also leading. How Apple killed one of the greatest mobile brands at that time called Nokia because of the project innovativeness. We saw projects like Panama Canal, where we say one of the most deadliest projects we ever undertaken. We saw projects such as Sydney Opera House, which we say one of the most failed projects that we have encountered. You're going to learn all this during the course, why we call failure. You might wonder, Opera House is one of the most iconic buildings even today in Sydney. And if you visit Sydney, that's a building that you always want to visit. And you might wonder why, in terms of project management, why we call it's a failed project. You're going to understand, we define failure in a slightly different way. And you're going to understand while the outcome, which is the Opera House, is there, the process that went through to build it, looking at the cost, looking at the timeline, looking at the scope of the project. Of course, we have gone quite above what was budgeted. And that's why we call it as one of our greatest failures. And we learn a lot of lessons out of it, which we don't want to repeat those kind of failures. So that's a little bit of background. During the course, we are going to talk about a lot of these case studies from the past, such as projects which gave a paradigm shift to the learnings that we are using today in our guides, such as PMBOK, for example. So this particular course will allow you to look at 2 certifications. So the course is 1 element, and course is 5 days, full 5 days. And once you finish the course, you're permitted to sit for one of the 2 examinations that are listed here. One is CAPM and the other one is PMP. Of course, PMP is the gold standard today in project management. If you really look at, PMP is much more recognized than a MSc in project management in today around the world. So if somebody asks me, shall I do an MSc in project management or shall I do PMP, I will always tell them do PMP. You can do MSc, mostly a general MSc rather than MSc in project management, right? MSc qualification is good, but I would always recommend you, maybe you might not want to look at MSc in project management. Maybe you might want to look at MSc in your own domain, maybe MSc in IT, MSc in construction management, you know. But if you're focusing on project management to be certified, PMP is that gold certificate recognized around the world today. So like you, I did my PMP in 2000 and, in 1997. Yeah, in 1997, and I'm still continuing with that. Now, if you're not qualified to PMP exam, I'll be talking about what is this eligibility criteria for PMP in the next set of slides. You can always sit for CAPM examination. So it's the same course, same 5 days that we run the same course. It's the same syllabus, but the exam is different. Again, you're going to understand in the next few minutes what's the difference in the examination when it comes to CAPM and PMP. So Ajit gave a quick introduction about me, so I will maybe skip the next slide. Of course, I work at Ernst & Young for full time. I head their technology consulting, where I do a lot of project management, large scale project management. My IT is information technology. I did my first degree in management information systems. So I run a lot of large scale IT projects. But PMP is not for IT, not for IT alone, rather. It could work for IT and it could work for any other industries like construction or event management or research-based project management. So almost anything, right? So I did my Agile Certified Practitioner also. We call it PMI ACP because I run large-scale IT projects. So Agile is purely for IT. So if anybody in this forum is for IT, project management. So after PMP, I would recommend that you need to focus on IT also. I'm the only Sri Lankan who got privilege to participate in one of the leading project management leadership programs, which is a graduation, a 2-year course. I got qualified in US. So I studied for 2 years during this course where PMI offered. They take 35 people from the entire world for a year. And I was one of them who got qualified in 2018. So entire 2019, I went through quite a deep training session in PMI USA to get myself qualified in something called PMI Leadership Institute Masterclass. I have trained more than 3,000 project managers like you on PMP as well as ACP, for example. And this course has been running for over 10 years because PMI changed their syllabus time to time. So we need to refine the syllabus time to time. Going back to the PMP and CAPM, again, this slide gives you a quick overview. PMP is for people who are starting their career, who are aspire to become project managers in the future. So if you are just after the degree, or if you are doing the degree right now, right, your first day in your degree, and you're keen to look at a project management job, well, CAPM is one of your tools that you will use. It's a starting point. It's for people who are entering the project management space, where if you finish CAPM together with your degree, we have seen those students will have a definite advantage to directly move into the working force like a junior project manager, for example, and gain their qualifications, experience, and then after a few years from there, of course, they could look at PMP. Now, as I told you before, PMP is that gold standard. For PMP, you need to have experience, you need to have knowledge, you need to know about project management up to a certain extent, not deep project management, but at least you would have done some kind of team management, some kind of collaboration, some kind of delegating your work to 1 or 2 team members. At least that collaboration, that team management will really helpful to move into the PMP space. So that's one of the differences between the two courses, even though two exams, even though the course remains the same thing, the learnings remain the same thing, the application is different for a starter versus experience project manager. Now, a little bit deep uh, into PMP, I just want to first go into the deep of PMP and give you an overview about PMP. Now, PMP has quite a deep syllabus, right? The syllabus is explained in a document called ECO, Exam Content Outline. Let me quickly take you to www.pmi.org. This is a site that you could browse when you're at home, when you're trying to take this decision. Always remember, pmi.org is the site. And if you go to certification tab here, you will have set of course certifications that are there in PMI. And the focus right now, we are in PMP. You can see the CAPM at the top, right? So PMP is a certification course we are looking at this point. So when I click PMP, of course, I will see some of the critical areas. I'll take you through the membership fees and all that in the next set of slides, right? When you go down, you see some statistics around the world, how the world recognizes you, how some of the salaries that you could look at going forward, etc. One important document that I want you to download and start reading is this ECO, Exam Content Outline. So you can simply click the download tab here, download icon here, and you will see a document there which you could read. That's our syllabus. We call it Exam Content Outline. And the exam content outline, the latest version is released in 2021, and that's the version that you should use. We have 3 critical domains there, which I will take you through in the next set of slides as well. 3 critical domains that you need to do, that you need to learn rather. So the people's domain, process domain, business environment domain. These are the 3 domains. I'll take you through again in a bit more details on that. While the previous exam content outlines, you can see in 2005 to 2010 to 2015, we had something called process groups, initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, closing. These are the process groups that are there, right? But from 2021, the entire syllabus changed, and now our syllabus talks about 3 domains. So in your entire study, we are looking at these 3 domains, from people to process to business environment, and your entire examination also comes on these 3 domains. Now, domain is a high-level knowledge area. Each domain has multiple different tasks. I'll show you some of the examples quickly later on. And the task has certain enablers there. So it's each domain. Now you understand 3 domains: people, process, business environment. Each of those domains have multiple tasks. Some domains have 5 tasks, some of them might have 7 tasks, etc. And each of those tasks have enablers to enable that particular task. Enablers means what should you do to perform that task that you need to do. Like one domain could be process domain. In the process domain, we have a task called identify the project budget. And in that task, we have multiple different enablers that you could use in order to identify that project budget. Activity-based costing is one. Estimation models like parametric model to 3-point model to analogous model, Those are the enablers that will give input or that will enable your task to be completed. And once you complete each task, of course, the domain will get completed. So that's our overall syllabus. You can see in the people's domain, we have 14 tasks to be covered in this course over 5 days. In the process domain, we have 17 tasks to be covered during these 5 days again. In business environment domain, we have 4 tasks to be covered, the smallest. And on your extreme right side at the top, you will see 42% of your examination is from the people's domain. 50%, quite a big, of your examination questions comes from your process domain. And 8% of your examination questions comes from your business environment. Now, the PMP syllabus also contains traditional project management as well as agile-based project management. Again, why? Because the world is moving into agile-based project management. Organizations are applying agile-based project management to non-IT projects as well. Agile started with IT, and we see a great success on that. And today we see even the other sectors are moving into agile-based project management. So this 42% of your examination is further divided into 50-50. So 50% of questions, that is 21% of people's domain, will be from traditional project management, or we call it waterfall-based project management. And the balance 50% of your questions will be from the agile-based project management. Scrum is the famous, but beyond Scrum, we have XP programming, etc., etc. Different types of agile-based project management as well. So again, if you really look at the new examination, 50% of the overall exam is from traditional waterfall-based, or we call it plan-driven project management practices. The balance 50% is from agile-based, or we call it change-driven project management practices. If you are new to this, don't worry. The course is going to cover you all this, and course is going to inculcate that knowledge within you. So even if you don't understand some of the concepts, because I'm trying to cover a lot of areas within this 1 hour, but in the course we have 5 days to go through it, so that you're going to understand all this in much more detail. So this is another example I just want to talk about very quickly. In the people's domain, you can see at the top, the people's domain, we have multiple different tasks. And you saw in the previous example, we have 14 tasks in the people's domain. And one task is leading a team, lead a team, for example. Out of that 14 tasks, one task in the people's domain is called lead a team. And lead a team has multiple enablers, you can see. So the whole idea is, as a PM, project manager, you got to lead a team. And when you are leading a team, what are the enablers? What are the things that you need to do? You need to set a clear vision and a mission to your project. You need to support diversity and inclusion. Today, a hot topic, diversity and inclusion, because the new gen, particularly looking at whether the organization support that inclusion, whether the organization support diversity, generational diversity, gender diversity, for example. The third enabler is value servant-driven leadership, which is also agile-based. We call it servant leadership. We are not like going forward. We are not looking at manager, task-driven operation. Whereas the world is moving towards a servant leadership model, and we value that in projects. Fourth enabler, you can see, determine an appropriate leadership style. We have Hitler's leadership, which is authoritative, to a very open leadership today. So where are you in that spectrum? Are you still prefer to be a Hitler's way of leading a team? Or are you willing to be very cooperative, join with the team, go with the team, always work with the team together. Kind of an open leadership model is what we are looking at. Fifth item there in terms of enablers, you can see we need to inspire the team. We need to motivate the team. So we are talking about a lot of motivational models out there, which is taught to us by many people. And how to influence the team, get the work done from the team, how you manage, particularly in agile, self-organized teams, for example. Finally, we have analyzed team member and stakeholder influence, different influence from team members as well as stakeholders. We are looking at Mandalo's power interest grid when it comes to stakeholders. We are looking at different types of stakeholders, from resistive nature to a neutral nature to a supportive nature to a leading nature of stakeholders. So those are, I just gave you an example how we talk about in this syllabus, from a domain aspect to a task aspect to enable aspect, or all around in your syllabus. These are some of the questions that you will see. I know at a glance, of course, you will say, my God, this question, how do you answer? Looks quite difficult to answer moment you look at the question. But these are typical PMP questions. Don't worry, we are going to learn all this. And the correct answer I have marked here for your reference. Again, I won't go through the question at this point, but I want to tell you how that question is related to the domain 3. Remember, domain 3 is business environment. And in that domain 3, task 1, which is called plan and manage project compliance. In my domain 3, one task. Remember, domain 3 has only 4 tasks. 4 tasks only. The smallest domain, 8% of your exam. Under that, this particular question that I showed you will be looking at whether you know the second enabler in the task 1, which is called classify compliance categories in your project. Again, how the questions and our ECO, exam content outline, is related. Now, one of the greatest reference guides that you will use during this course, which we are giving you a soft copy of this book, right? You don't have to buy this, right? We are giving it to you. It's called PMBOK 7, Project Management Book of Knowledge is what PMBOK stands for. Project Management Body of, or sometimes Book of, we call it. So body or a book of knowledge. And the 7th is the latest edition. So if any one of you have the 6th edition, 5th edition, well, 6th edition, you can read it, but not beyond that. 5th, 4th, you need to throw those away. They're quite outdated today. 6th edition is not a must read, but if you have enough time, of course, you can read it, and it's going to give you more knowledge and information. Together with that, we highly encourage you, again, we are giving you a soft copy, to read Agile Practitioner's Guide. Particularly, if you are not practicing Agile in your organization, you need to uplift the knowledge on Agile, which during the course we are doing a lot, but highly recommended to read the Agile Practitioner's Guide as well. Remember, guys, these are not our syllabus. PMBOK 7 is not our syllabus. It's a reference guide only. It will help you to understand the syllabus, which is in the ECO, exam content outline. It will have most of the concepts that are there in the ECO in more depth and with a lot of explanations, so that you could use it. And it's a must to read during this course. While we conduct the course over a period of 5 days, PMBOK 7 is must to read. An Agile Guide is also a must to read for you. Moving into how the questions looks like, right? We are looking at mostly in the new PMP examination. The questions are based on scenarios. So PMP, again, remember I'm talking about PMP. I'll come to CAPM in the next set of slides, but I'm just giving you overall knowledge on PMP first. Now, PMP questions are for project managers who are knowledgeable, who have experience running projects. So about good 80 to 90% questions are application based or scenario based. So they give you a kind of an actual project scenario and they ask you questions based on that. The theoretical questions will be very low. Like, for example, if you know about activity on nodes diagram, exam will never ask you to draw an activity on nodes diagram, but rather they will give you the activity on nodes diagram and will ask you certain application based questions, scenario based questions on that, to see whether in a typical project, how do you apply your project management knowledge. So that's where the examination for project PMP is. So scenario based will be the highest number of questions. About good 80 to 90% of questions will be from scenario based, situational questions. Again, I told you, out of which 50% from waterfall based project management, 50% from agile. Again, our course over 5 days is going to cover all this and the 3 domains we discuss. Rarely you will see questions which are multiple correct answers. Rare, not very much. So you most of the questions you will have one answer correct. They're all multiple based questions, guys. 90% of your exam will be scenario based, multiple, or you call it MCQ based questions, right? MCQ based questions. But on and off, you will have questions with multiple correct answers, questions that will have drag and drop, questions will have point and click, questions will have fill in the blanks, very rare. All of this together, you will have about only 10% questions. 90% will be MCQ, scenario based. So we need to prepare for those questions as well, guys. So during the course, we are going to prepare for those questions. And your paper will have altogether 180 questions total. You will only get marks for 175 questions. You will not get marks for 5 questions. Again, during the course, I will explain why that is. Due to the time limitation, I will not go through it. And you don't have to worry much about it at this point, right? Why they are not giving me marks for 5 questions. They are called pre-test questions. Again, I'll explain that during the course. But overall, we have 180 questions and we have 230 minutes for that question. So average about 1 minute and 20 seconds per question. You will have 10 minutes breaks after every 60 questions. So at the bottom you see, so you do 60 questions, you submit the 60 and you will have a break of 10 minutes. So you can go out, have something to drink, go to the washroom, come back, refresh yourself. You have only 10 minutes. The clock stops during this 10 minutes. Again, you do 60 questions, takes another 10 minutes break, come back for the last 60 questions. So that's usually the style of the question. And we recommend you don't leave questions without answering. Even though you don't have enough time, you need to put answers to all the questions because there's no penalty marks for incorrect answers. So you need to make sure all 180 questions are answered and submitted within this 230 minutes. Now for PMP examination, you have eligibility criteria because it's the world's #1 project management qualification. They make sure that they only take the correct people even to enable the exam. This course is mandatory, guys. This course will have to be 35 hours minimum. We will do slightly beyond 35 hours, but the PMI's recommendation is 35 hours. So we will go 5 days, slightly beyond 35 hours, right? This course is mandatory. It's not a self-learned course. You need to go for a course which is mandatory. Now the qualification comes if you don't have a degree. If you don't have a degree with you, you need to show 5 years of experience. 5 years of experience. 5 years is about 7,500 hours. Each year has about 2,000 hours if you really calculate. We have 50 weeks usually for a year. Each week has about 40 hours, 8 into 5 days, average about 40 hours. And 40 into 50 is about 2,000 hours a year. So PMI wants you to show 7,500 hours over 5 years. Over 5 years, you have about 10,000 hours, but they need about 7,500 if you don't have a degree. Now, CIMA, chartered, similar professional qualification will be treated as equal to a degree. Equal to a degree, right? Uh, and the exam is, you saw 230 minutes altogether, right? That's the exam, right? So the course is mandatory, and I will show you how to very quickly enter the, enter the application form as well today. So based on the application form, there is a possibility to call you for an audit from PMI USA, right? Again, not a big problem. You need to talk about the truth when you're filling the application. If you have a degree, you need to make sure that you tell the truth about the degree, and you should be having your certificate with you. And if you get caught to audit, of course, you need to submit all those documents, right? Now, what happens if you have a degree? The 5 years will reduce to 3 years actually. So you need to have 3 years experience. The rest, 3 years equal to about 4,500 hours of experience altogether. Again, this course is mandatory. Exam is the same. This is the eligibility criteria for PMP. So remember, if you have a degree, 3 years of experience. If you don't have a degree, it becomes 5 years of experience. The exam fee is about $405. You directly need to pay it online through your credit card. You can't pay it to any institute, by the way. Examination fees, for example. Again, during the course, I'll take you through more details of this. There's two exam fees here. One is a member-based exam fee. Other one is a non-member-based exam fee. So once you do the course, all of you are eligible to become a member of PMI. Again, I'm going to show you how to become a member. And when you become a member of PMI, all of you can become a member. The exam fee becomes $405. It's a lifetime investment, right, for the examination. And once you invest that money, you will sit for the exam. And if you pass the exam, wow, you'll be the achiever. Out of that, you will be recognized as a professional project manager. So this is beyond the course fees, guys. Course fees is separate, right? You need to right now only need to pay the course fees. And based on the course fees, you can start the course with us. And once you finish the course, during the course, I'll show you whenever you are ready, you will basically enroll to the examination, and then only you need to pay this $405 directly to PMI through your credit card. Some students are asking, what happens after I pass the PMI? Passing is the difficult part, PMP. But once you pass the PMP, of course, your qualification is valid for 3 years. During that 3 years, you need to collect something called professional development units. You need to collect 60 PDUs during 3 years, which means about 20 PDUs for a year. Not at all difficult. Not at all difficult. Everyone does it. I myself do it, for example, right? If you are learning new concepts about project management, there are so many sites out there who gives you free knowledge. You get PDUs. If you're teaching project management to your teams inside the organization or externally, of course, you get PDUs. If you're presenting certain topics at conferences about project management, you get PDUs. If you read books about project management, you get PDUs. If you're doing volunteering for various project activities, if you're building content related to project management, all of these will allow you to claim PDUs. And again, I want to emphasize, getting 60 PDUs over a period of 3 years is a simple task. Going through the course and passing PMP would be your first hurdle and the difficult hurdle. After that, maintaining PMP is not difficult, as long as you have mechanisms to collect those PDUs. And during the course, again, I will re-emphasize with some of the sites that gives you free knowledge, which enables you to collect free PDUs. So this is the overall process that you're going to do, whether you're doing CAPM or PMP. The training is 35 hours, as I told you. That's the first thing that you will do. Moment you pay your course fees, you could attend the training. It's going to be 5 full days training, which allows you to complete the entire end-to-end 3 domains with all the tasks and enablers, with examinations that's going to train you for the exam, will allow you to do that. And then, of course, you will apply for the PMP examination, which I will show you during the course how to do that, as well as you start studying. You start reading the PMBOK, reading many other documents, get yourself more knowledgeable on project management. Some of you might get caught to audit, not all of you, right? And then you will also do various different activities. For example, you will fill the application form for the exam. You will make the payment for the exam while you're doing studies again over a period of 5 weeks. We usually recommend you to do studies at least for about 1.5 to 2 months after the training. So training is about 5 weeks. And after that, at least 1 to 1.5 months continuous studying. While you do that studies, you of course will apply for the exam. You will make the payment for the exam. You will register for the exam. We are an exam center, and you will sit for that exam one day. You can schedule your own exam date, for example, and hopefully you will get through and you will become a PMP holder. You can put PMP after your name because it's a credential. Like you put your degree, BSc or MSc, you also can put PMP after your name because it's a credential which you could carry with your name. And it's valid for 3 years. Like I told you, during that 3 years, you need to collect 60 PDUs. And once you collect 60 PDUs, you can continue carrying PMP for another 3 years. And during that 3 years, again, you need to collect another 60 PDUs. Again, it's not difficult. That's an overview of PMP. CAPM is also very similar. So I'll go a little faster on CAPM, and then I'll open up for your questions. I'm sure you will have a lot of questions, right? Now, CAPM exam is mostly theoretical exam rather than PMP PMP exam is more into scenario based, application based. CAPM is theoretical based because you're entering into the project management domain. So we have 135 questions, altogether 150 questions because we have 15 pre-test questions. So PMP, remember, 180, whereas CAPM is 150 questions. PMP, we had 230 minutes for the exam. CAPM, we have 180 minutes for the exam. Almost similar, 1 minute and 20 seconds. The new exam has changed a bit. Sorry, my text is little outdated. We still have the breaks even now, from recent months. We have the breaks also in CAPM. So sorry about my text. I have said here there's no breaks, but they have enabled the breaks now, right? So we have breaks in between the questions, even for CAPM today. CAPM exam fee is lower than PMP. It's for members. PMP, remember, $405, CAPM $225. So substantial difference for members. And CAPM does not have a eligibility criteria like it was for PMP, but CAPM's eligibility criteria are very straightforward. Even with A levels, you can do, or if you're in the first year of degree, you can do without a problem. If you have a diploma, you can do CAPM because that's the entry level qualification to project management. Like PMP, you need to earn 60 PDUs for 3 years. CAPM is lenient. We need to only collect 15 PDUs as opposed to 60 in PMP. So only 15 for 3 years. So 5 PDUs for a year you are looking at when it comes to CAPM. So I have gone through the certification process, but maybe very quickly, I'll take you through very quickly some of the things I told you. First of all, even today you can do this, guys. You go to www.pmi.org and you can create a login. So you will, my site would have changed a bit here and there, but you will see login register icon somewhere in the site. Please click that, and then you will be asked to create an account. This is a free process, right? And you put all your details, put a password, and of course you will have your account created. Your name will appear at the top. It is just an account, just to go into some of the sites. And of course, once you start the course, you can become a member. And how do you become a member? Of course, you have a membership tab there. You click that membership tab, and you need to pay annually for the membership. So $139 for a year for individual membership. If you're a student, that means if you are doing a degree in an university at this point, master's, MBA, MSc, or even a PhD or a DBA in a university, you are eligible to become a student member of PMI. You have the same level of access as the individual member, but since you are doing a professional qualification, your membership drops to $32 for a year, from $139 to $32 for a year. So get that advantage if you're a student in one of these universities. Of course, they will ask you for proof, so you need to be able to submit those proof to do this. So we will highly recommend you to get the membership initially, because the exam fee, you remember, from $600 will immediately drop to $405. So that itself will pay off for the membership. But after doing the exam, it is your choice to continue the membership or not. So I still continue the membership because I get a lot of benefits out of PMI, because I'm a member and because I practice project management, because I teach project management. Of course, I get a lot of benefits. So because of that, I continue the membership, paying $139 annually. But you can decide after the exam whether you want to continue the membership. You can still continue PMP qualification without the membership. That option is there, right? So membership is not mandatory. Even you can do the exam without the membership, but you saw the exam fee is higher. Exam fee is higher when you are not a member of PMI. Of course, you need to submit few details. And then finally, I showed you before, you need to apply for PMP qualification or CMP qualification. So this is under the qualifications tab, and you have to pick whether you are doing CAPM or PMP, and you need to answer few questions. I will not go through the details of it because my time is almost up, but you need to fill a lot of details about the course that you did at this institution, about the projects that you have managed, because remember, you need to show 4,500 hours of project management with a degree, right? Without a degree, 7,500 hours. So you need to enter all these projects that you have done to show that you have covered those number of hours again. Right. So the education is this particular course, guys, is mandatory. If you get caught to audit, you need to submit the certificate that you get from Perfect Academy as a proof of this particular course. Again, your name, all this you need to enter, right? And you need to pick where you want to do PMP examination, right? So good. So the first step is join the course. That's the immediate thing that you will do, right? Join the course, pay the course fees, join the course. And then during the course, we even make a plan for your study plan. I told you after the course, you need to study for 1 to 1.5 months, right? What do you do? What questions you need to do, right? We will give you a lot of exam. You need to purchase exam books. We are going to give you the study books, PMBOK 7, as well as the Agile Practitioner's Guide. So you need to start reading them, mandatory, right? Take a lot of practice exams. I'll also take you through practice exams during the course. But even beyond that, you need to do a lot of practice questions. You need to do at least 1,000 questions, minimum of 1,000 questions before the exam for you to prepare. Highly encourage you to be studying in study groups, right, with your friends together. You could study. LinkedIn has a lot of PMP groups, so you might want to join them, and they discuss a lot of questions also. And very important to make that exam preparation plan, and the day of the exam, you should be energetic because you need to sit for 230 minutes facing 180 different types of questions during that. So this is how you get the pass or fail immediately, instantly after the exam. So you will see overall score performance pass. That means I have passed PMP, and within couple of days you could download your certification from pmi.org, signed by the CEO, president of PMI USA. So that's the certificate that you will get directly. You will get a certificate from Perfect Academy, which says that you have gone through the course. But once you finish the examination, of course, you will get the certificate directly from PMI itself. So you need to start somewhere, guys. It's one of the greatest examinations. It's one of the greatest qualifications. If you're passionate to become a project manager, that's what happened to me. When I was a project manager a long time back, I'm so passionate. So that's how I did this course during that time. And I'm still passionate, and that's the reason I still teach about project management. So starting point is the most important thing. Thank you very much. And I would like to take any questions that you have at this point before we close. You can unmute and ask any questions, guys. Ajit, over to you.
Okay, Shanaka. Thank you very much. The participants, if you have any questions, so this is the time to interact with Shanaka, and I think he took through both the qualifications, PMP and CAPM, separately. Any questions that you have, because I can remember some of you asking questions related to after you complete, if anyone complete the CAPM, how to move to the PMP, how many years that one has to continue with the CAPM qualification, and whether they need to do the exam of PMP back to be qualified in PMP. Shanaka, if you can.
Yeah, so correct. There's no path to directly from CAPM to directly jump to PMP. So once you do the PMP qualification, you can start practicing project management like a junior project manager, and you can obtain those 3 years if you have a degree, 3 years of experience managing projects, handling projects, managing teams, right? That 3 years experience you can gain. Once you gain the 3 years experience, you need to sit for PMP exam again. You don't need to do the course again. This course is valid for CAPM and PMP. So you can retain the certificate. There's no expiry period for this certificate. Even after 10 years, you can still do the exam with this certificate. You don't need to do the course again, right? But you need to do the examination, right? So CAPM you have done, you gain that experience, and now you want to jump to PMP. So book the exam again like you did for CAPM. This time it is PMP exam. Study for the PMP exam, right? And sit for that PMP exam. Then you get the next level of qualification, which is PMP.
Okay,
hope that answered you.
Yeah, one more question, Shanaka, you mentioned about some of the benefits that one could get maintaining the membership. You can little explore on that as well.
Yeah. So when you become a member of PMI, PMI maintains a site called projectmanagement.com. That's one of the greatest sites you can look at later on, projectmanagement.com. Projectmanagement.com is a knowledge-based site, right? PMI manages it. It has almost all the templates in the world that you need when you're running a project, like template of a Gantt chart, template of a risk register, template of a stakeholder register, template of a communication management plan, all those templates, hundreds of thousands of templates available in Excel, Word format, they are available, even in PowerPoint format, for example. So when you become a member, one of the greatest benefits that you will get is all these templates are free for you to download. Without a member, you won't get every template to be downloaded. Some free templates you can download, but not all. But once you become a member, all the templates are freely available for you to download, and you can start using them in your projects. That's one of the things that I do. Secondly, projectmanagement.com put a lot of webinars. These are like latest project management knowledge sessions. Usually they are 1 hour, 1.5 hours. They give you the latest topic and some of the exciting topics in project management. Some of the case studies in project management, like for example, recently there was a webinar by the Panama Canal second lane that was completed in year 2000. The project manager themselves talking about how they did it, for example. Quite impressive, quite impressive case study on an actual project. So those are the things that happens at projectmanagement.com, and when you're a member, all these are available free. Again, some of the exam-based questions also are published in projectmanagement.com, and it will be free for members who are part of PMI membership. So these are some of the benefits. Of course, once you're a member, you can download all those books. PMBOK 7 to Agile Practitioner's Guide to Risk Management Practitioner's Guide. There's hundreds of books available free of charge for you to download the PDF version when you are a member of PMI. So again, I'll reiterate those in the course also, but since you asked that question, I just gave you quite a high level answer on that.
Okay, thank you, Shanaka. So I would like to extend the time if any of the participants here on MS Team, please unmute. You have the feature of you to ask questions. You can unmute and you can bring your questions to Shanaka so he could answer your questions. It seems like they don't have much questions at the moment. Small thing to ask from you, Shanaka, like those who join with the program, like now after the training, so they must go through some papers, some answering past papers and previous questions. So how they can do that, or what's the set of
So we'll be sharing a lot of questions with you. So we are doing part of that questions during this course, right, with answers, as well as we'll be sharing some of the other question packs to you, so that during your study period for you to do. I'll be also sharing some of the sites that will have questions for you to do jointly or individually. Doing questions is very essential. My recommendation is always minimum of 1,000, preferably 1,000 to 1,500 questions before the exam. So again, we'll be sharing a lot of those questions, as well as some of the sites which contains questions for you to do.
Okay, then I think any one of you still have any questions? So those are some of my the questions that I received from the participants during these last couple of the weeks that I have been interacting with them. Anyone of you still have any questions to press, interact, and ask from Shana? It's up to you. It's your time. If no questions, small message that I would like to